Hello friends, welcome to the Southern Mountain Kitchen. Today we're going to make a really quick and easy version of honey butter cornbread. So we're going to preheat our ovens to 375 degrees because it's going to take about 20 minutes to cook. Everything you see on my counter is what we're using today to make this. And we're going to start with an actual Jiffy cornbread muffin mix, and that is going to be the base of what we're doing. So what we're going to do is dump the contents of the box of corn muffin mix into our bowl, and we're going to use a whisk to break it up, because a lot of times when you get these, they have clumps of whatever inside of it. It's like some things, like the ingredients stick together, so you just need to break them up a little bit before we get started. Now to this we are going to add 1 tablespoon of granulated sugar and mix it in a bit so that way it gets incorporated. And next we're going to use 2 large eggs, which you want to break these up before you put them in so that way they're easier to mix into the mix in the bowl. So go ahead and stir this up a little bit, get them a little bit incorporated before the next ingredients. Now, the next thing we're going to add to this is a 1/2 cup of butter, which we melted in the microwave a little bit ahead of time. So that way it's already easier to mix in and you don't have to worry about it being too clumpy. So go ahead and mix that into everything that was already in the bowl. And then the last thing that's going in is about 1/3 cup of buttermilk. And once that's in, you're going to go ahead and mix this up completely, because this is what's going to make the base of your cornbread. So go ahead and stir it through, make sure everything is incorporated. And if you haven't done it already, preheat your oven to 375 degrees. Remember, this is infrared. Now, when you get ready to bake this, you can use whatever kind of pan you want to use for this. I'm using a cast iron skillet, and this is a medium-sized one. I already sprayed it with a little bit of nonstick cooking spray just to make sure this doesn't set up shop. And then all of my ingredients are going into it, and it's going to go into the oven, which, like I said, 375 for about 20 minutes. Now, sometimes ovens cook hotter than others. You might want to check them this along the way to see how it's getting golden on top, to see if you think it's done a little earlier. And when it comes back, it'll look like something like what's on the screen here. Now what we want to do is set this to the side for a couple minutes to let it cool, because we're going to actually poke a few holes in the top of this to put in our next ingredients. So what I'm using is a chopstick, and I'm just going to make a few holes in this. Now I'm not going crazy with this, I'm just going to do some holes around the outer edge and in the middle, so when I make my next mix, it's going to go pouring over top of this and soak into these holes. So what we're going to do to make up our mix, we are going to take a 1/2 cup of softened butter. To that we're going to add about 1 tablespoon of brown sugar, and then about 2 tablespoons of honey, and then we're going to mix that together. So take a spoon, spatula, whatever, mix it up completely, and then when it's done, we're going to pour this over top of the cornbread. And since the cornbread is still hot, if you have some lumps in your butter, it's totally okay, because they will melt in. So now we're going to get ready to pour this over top, and you're going to say, wow, this looks like a lot of stuff being poured all over top of this cornbread. It will soak in, it will give it an amazing taste, and it's just a wonderful thing. But you just have to let it sit for a couple minutes for it to do what it needs to do. So I brush mine across the top to make sure some of this goes to the edges and goes underneath, and then it'll soak in completely. So after a few minutes of sitting, it'll look something like this when it's done. And this has the best taste. And I served mine with some crispy chicken and some mashed potatoes, which I'm going to have videos coming up for in the near future. I hope you liked this video, and if you did, please like and subscribe. And if you get a chance, check out my cookbooks, which are available worldwide. The first one is all about everyday cooking. The second one is all about baking. Have a great day.